New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring. New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
Live from a secure concrete bunker somewhere in Ohio, New Thought Media Network presents Pastor Michael Mangus with Friday's Fireside Chat, spiritual conversation for today. Here he is from the secret radio room, surrounded by thousands of watts, Pastor Michael Mangus.
Oh, it's good to be here on a Friday evening across the United States and also around the world. It is time, once again, for another fun-thrilled and action-packed, entertaining show called the Fireside Chat here on your New Thought Media Network. That's a good way of starting the show. Hi, I'm Reverend Michael Mangus. I'm broadcasting this evening from the top secret radio room, surrounded by thousands, and I mean thousands of watts, in the extremely secure concrete bunker. No matter what Jeff Radcliff says, I'm still here in the concrete bunker that requires such a high level of security. Only one person. That is Diego Reyes. Only he knows where the top secret bunker is located. Everyone else has no idea where the top secret bunker is located, including our guest commentator this evening. Well, once again, we do have a great show for you this evening. Yes, we are live. Yes, we are live, Wayne Baldwin. So if you would like to go ahead and comment, please do so. Or for all the shy people out there, pastormichaelmangus@gmail.com. pastormichaelmangus@gmail.com. Please send me an email, and I would love to read it during the week. So the purpose of our Fireside Chat is to make us all think, to come from a place of spirituality rather than from a place of panic. That there are different ways of taking a look at the world and also the news. So you do not have to agree with the opinions of yours truly or Jeff Radcliff or anyone else who appears on this show. But the reason we go ahead and we talk about them is because we want to have a loving discussion about these issues and how we can create a world that does work for all. Once again, from the great state of Tennessee, back on the airwaves again.
Oh,
We welcome Divine Science Minister Jeff Radcliff. And Jeff always has a comment or two that gets me in problems. During the Monday show, the Monday meeting that I have with Reverend Robert.
I do what I can. I just need to keep Reverend Robert on his feet, so I've got to get you in trouble in order to do that.
Right.
Keep his toes, you know.
Yeah, okay.
And every week you mention, nobody knows except for Diego Reyes.
Right.
Does everybody know who Diego is? You need to maybe once in a while mention exactly who Diego is for the people that don't know him. Because he's a sweetheart.
Diego was my former producer for 3 years until he quit.
Oh, so we don't like him anymore. Is that it?
No,
High and dry.
no, he actually got a paying gig.
Can't blame him for that.
Yeah, Camp Cedar Ridge is his home, along with his lovely wife, Mercedes. They are up there taking care of everyone, all the campers and all the couples that get married there at beautiful Camp Cedar Ridge.
And Diego is like awesome incarnate. So
Yes, I miss him.
He's really a good guy.
So, so conference season starts next week.
Yeah.
I'll be going to
be there, but I'm going to have to depend on you to get some really good shots because I'm going to be tuning in virtually.
Oh, good. So then you have my phone number.
Mm-hmm.
So then you can go ahead and call me up when everything's going haywire.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
I was going to give you a pass anyhow.
Oh.
I was.
Okay.
Don't tell Robert that, but I was going to. Do we have to do the news?
Well, I suppose we probably ought to.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit of it. We don't have to go whole hog. We can just do a little bit.
A little bit, okay. We will do a little bit of news. And that's not my slide. There it is. That's my slide. So the debate fallout continues. President Joe Biden says he will continue his reelection campaign during a very rare solo news conference on Thursday, dismissing concerns about his health and promising to keep moving despite a growing list of Democratic officials calling for him to step aside. House Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries met with Biden on Thursday, and he said in a letter on Friday, and he also said that he directly expressed the full breadth of insight, heartfelt perspectives, and conclusions about the path forward. In other words, he asked him to quit. And that came from lawmakers. Barack Obama and also Nancy Pelosi have also spoken privately about the future of the president's 2024 campaign. And both the former president and the ex-speaker expressed concerns about how much harder they think it has become for the president to beat Donald Trump. Next week, of which we will be talking about, we'll talk about the week after, but the Republican National Convention is next week. I know that Jeff Radcliff will be watching every minute of it.
Not going near that hot mess.
Where the GOP will nominate as their presidential candidate the 45th president of the United States, Donald Trump, as it kicks off in Milwaukee, of which Donald Trump has said a few disparaging things about that city. Your comments, Reverend Jeff Radcliff.
About the RNC and their
about
all
the angst about well, Joe didn't do a very good job and that he should quit and that our country is going to be more of a mess if Donald Trump wins and all the fear that's been coming up. Well, again, your comments, Reverend Jeff Radcliff.
I believe it was Paul J. Harriman who said it is never safe to look into the future with the eyes of fear. And that's exactly what we're seeing right now is people are freaking out. They are going absolutely crazy. And they don't have to be. They don't have to be. But they're doing it. They're freaking out. Yeah, pull me in some. Thank you. They're freaking out. The Democratic Party has never been one to do things calmly and serenely. something happens, and they all run around like Chicken Little. The sky is falling. The sky is falling. They eat their young. I mean, and they're spitting out the bones. And what they're doing is basically they've abandoned President Biden. Yeah, he's an 81-year-old man, and yeah, he has got his moments. Who among us who has elderly parents or who remembers elderly grandparents every once in a while slipping up and saying something that they didn't quite mean? I remember my grandmother going through the whole list of grandchildren before she found the one that she wanted. She would call everybody's name until she got to the one that she wanted.
That's right.
So Joe slipped up a couple of times. Although granted, I was watching the other night, and when he referred, they were going on and on about how he mistakenly called Volodymyr Zelensky by Putin's name. Yeah, that was bad. And it was kind of cringy when he actually called Donald Trump. He was talking about Kamala Harris, and he mentioned that he would not have picked her, or meaning he said, I would not have picked Vice President Trump if I didn't think she could do the job. Which I thought, so that was kind of cringy because he was talking about Kamala.
Right.
But who among us has not made a verbal slip once in a while? He has shown he has a proven track record. He talked about policy issues. Donald Trump, finally, the New York Times put out an editorial, I think it was yesterday, saying that they thought that the Republicans ought to dump Trump because he's not capable of running the country either, that he's not qualified to do it and he's not capable of doing it. He spews a whole lot more crazy than Joe Biden ever did.
But he did it so...
But he doesn't act artfully. And,
but he did it with such confidence, though, and, such enthusiasm. And then even though that Joe went ahead and he said the truth, that he did not do it with vigor.
Yeah. And you see the people behind Trump, and they're like, what the hell did he just say? What is he talking about? And then they just swallow it all and they say, oh, okay, well, no, it doesn't matter. We don't have to understand it. He's crazy. We'll just take it and we'll run with it. So
we're all going to be okay.
But we are. We're
all going to be okay.
We are already.
We're okay. And that if, again, please just go vote. Go vote this fall. Just go vote.
Yeah.
Now, bottom line, and make sure, especially in Ohio, make sure that if you have not voted in the past few elections, make sure that you're still registered to vote. And you can do that by going online on the Ohio's Secretary of State. They have an election website. You can check your voter registration there.
Yeah. There is a national voter thing. I'll have to look it up and send it out to you so that you can send it out. But there's a national website where you can go and put your information in and double check to make sure that you are registered, because they have been purging rolls all across the country. And you don't want to get there and come up with a nasty surprise that, oh, we're not going to let you vote because you're not on our rolls anymore.
This is a Friday evening fireside chat here on your New Thought Media Network, and Jeff's favorite story of the week.
Oh, yeah.
A Tennessee church raffles off an AR-15 to celebrate Independence Day.
You can't make this stuff.
How more Christian can you get? Raffling off an AR-15 on Independence Day. I mean, wouldn't Jesus do the same thing? Well, let me read the story. This is from Johnson City, Tennessee. It says a Tennessee church raffled off an AR-15 rifle as a part of its Independence Day celebration over the weekend. Dr. Todd Holmes, who has no relation and is no relation to Ernest, oh, my religious scientists will get that. He is the senior pastor of the River of Tri-Cities Church in Johnson City. Says that he sees the giveaway as a part of a broader effort for his church to be a blessing. Can you say blessing? A blessing to the whole community. I can't make this stuff up. Holmes said this. He said, this is just one of many giveaways that we do here at our church. And I thought it was appropriate since it's about our nation's independence and part of our Constitution and our Second Amendment rights. And although Holmes acknowledged that some might be uncomfortable with the giveaway, like Michael Mangus and Jeff Radcliff.
Well, uncomfortable is one word, yeah.
Particularly those who have been affected by gun violence, he seems to downplay those concerns. Isn't that interesting? There should be a lot more opportunity, and there is a lot more opportunity to be killed in a car or a crash, I guess I should say, than there would be a gun, Holmes said. And people can get upset about something, but in the end, it's not really about a gun. It's about a person's heart, because a gun in and of itself is not evil. It is as good or as evil as the person using it. The AR-15 was given away last Sunday during the church's worship service. I mean, how more Christian can you get? I mean, giving away an AR-15 during your worship service, which was streamed live to Facebook. Holmes said, he said, we had a raffle set up in the lobby. Didn't Jesus overturn tables in the temple? Anyhow, we had a raffle set up here in the lobby, Holmes said, and we are going to, because of our Second Amendment rights. Now, you could not do this in North Korea. You couldn't do this in China. You can't do this in Canada, but you can in the United States of America. And then scattered affirmations of amen could be heard throughout the congregation. And Holmes said, he said, we don't worship guns. He says, that's the corniest thing I've ever heard in my life. But we're going to give this rifle away here today. And Holmes then introduced someone to bring the rifle onto the church stage. He was also joined on stage by his wife and co-senior pastor, Katie, who joked about being a deplorable woman. Katie said, this is awesome to be able to do this. She went on to refer to those who would criticize the raffle as small-brained liberals. Your comment, Reverend Jeff Radcliff, you small-brained liberal, you.
Did you also see the notice that they have up on the front door of the church?
No,
it's up on the glass as you come into the church. It says, "Welcome to the River of Tri-Cities Church." Then they say, "Right of admission reserved," because if you kick up a fuss, they're going to kick you out. But it says "Warning" in big red letters, and this sign is peppered with exclamation points as well.
Okay.
This is not a gun-free zone. We are armed. Any attempt to disrupt or harm will be dealt with in an overwhelming display of force. Thank you. And I think on all of those scriptures that I grew up hearing about how God would take care of us and God would protect us. And we were safe under the shadow of the wings of the Almighty. That's out of Psalms, by the way. It didn't say anything about God needing any help to do it. So for them to auction off firearms, particularly the kind of firearms that are meant to kill people,
As many people as possible.
it's not a surprise that the authorities in Uvalde, Texas, asked the parents of the children at that school to give them a DNA sample, because so many of those children were so mangled and torn up that they could not be identified.
Man.
This is the type of weapon that church is giving away.
I'm making light of it.
You're
But
making
this is
light of it,
really
but it is
sad,
really
though.
serious. Yeah,
This is really sad that a church that, again, that claims to be Christian is giving away, again, a weapon of war during a church service, and that they have a sign on their front door that says, if you stir up any trouble, that you will be shot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I guarantee you that this church would be the first in line to file a lawsuit if maybe the Satanic Temple decided that they were going to hold an auction and auction off a hammer and some nails and maybe some wood for a cross. And
Reverend Radcliff.
yeah. Hey, it goes both ways. But these people probably would not stand for it. But yet here they are, they are what they are. So
yes, people kill people, that guns don't kill people, but again, you have to have a gun in, you can kill others in other ways, and that it takes a person to fire a gun. However, my contention has always been that we have too many of them, and that why can't we have a ban on these kind of assault rifles like we did back during Ronald Reagan when he got an assassin, or when there was an assassination attempt on him? I don't understand here. And so I just don't get individuals, again, Christian individuals, going ahead and doing that. I said to Diana Mangus, who is the spiritual director of Summit Center for Spiritual Living, I said, well, why don't we go ahead and raffle off an AR-15? And she said, hell to the no. Again,
go down to Lowe's and get you some hammer, get you a hammer and some nails,
and raffle that off.
Why not?
Why?
And don't forget
and again, I don't mean to make light of this, and that this is just the only way that sometimes I can deal with stuff, is just laugh at it, because this is so absurd. That, again, Jesus saying, turn the other cheek,
Mm-hmm.
Telling people to put their sword away when he was arrested. Crazy, crazy, crazy stuff out there. All right.
I'm also sure that Pastor Todd Holmes would be the first to also say, well, we gave away more stuff than just the gun.
What else?
Like that justifies it, but
well, did he give away ammo too, or?
I don't know. They gave away a variety of items. It's the articles I've seen said, but they didn't go into what they were.
Well, you're watching, if you're wondering what you've tuned into this evening, this is the Friday evening Fireside Chat here on your New Thought Media Network. Oh, hold on. We have a special message from the spiritual director of Summit CSL. True. I said no. Anyhow, let's go ahead. I'll tell you what, this is a good time. Why don't we take a break? And then we will be back. We have more stories. I have more material this evening than time. But the reason I do is because Jeff is giving us his wisdom this evening. Jeff Radcliff. All right. So we'll take a break here and we'll have Jeff right back here in just a moment. So I would like to remind you that this Sunday, we have a wonderful service planned at Summit Center for Spiritual Living. And if you would like information about our wonderful service on Sunday, go to summitcsl.org. That's summitcsl.org for more information. You can get information for the Zoom call there. This Sunday, we're having a special Interfaith Sunday with one of our friends, Sister Michelle Gippin. She is from the Brahma Kumaris. And so go to summitcsl.org for more information on how to join our Zoom call. And our service is also simulcast on the Summit Spiritual Center of Akron Facebook page. And also our Facebook page also has past broadcasts of the Fireside Chat. And yours truly when he is praying on the New Thought Media Network. All right. All right, let's take a break, and then we will be back with more news and commentary. This is the Friday evening Fireside Chat here on your New Thought Media Network.
People of African Descent New Thought Group proudly presents Celebrating Our Soul, Consciously Creating Change at Unity Village, Thursday, August 1st through Sunday, August 4th. Some of our greatest keynote speakers, some of our finest musicians and vocalists, some of our amazing and experienced panelists, and some of our fabulous masterclass presenters will be there for you at Celebrating Our Soul, Consciously Creating Change at Unity Village this summer. Regular registration ends June 30th, so don't delay. Register today at padntg.com. Sponsorship opportunities are available at padntg.com. Volunteer opportunities are available at padntg.com. Go there now, padntg.com. See you there.
The views and opinions expressed by Pastor Michael Mangus are generally right. However, they are his own and do not reflect the views and opinions of New Thought Media Network, Centers for Spiritual Living, or any other person living or dead. As they say in the 12-Step Recovery Program, take what you like and leave the rest. Here again is Pastor Michael.
Along with my good friend, the Reverend Jeff Radcliff, and we are giving commentary here on the news. And Here is another story about another Christian theologian being persecuted for saying that LGBTQ individuals are Christians and that they are wanted in the church. This is the Reverend Dr. Thomas J. Ord, who I have heard before at conferences. He is accused of teaching doctrines that are contrary to the Church of the Nazarene. So a prominent and prolific theologian in the Church of the Nazarene will face a church trial later this month for advocating the LGBTQ affirmation at a time when the denomination is doubling down on its opposition to same-sex relation. The Reverend Dr. Thomas J. Ord, who is an ordained elder and a lifelong member of the denomination, is accused of teaching doctrines contrary to the Church of the Nazarene. He's also being charged with conduct unbecoming of a minister for his efforts to move the denomination to affirm LGBTQ individuals. The church holds that the practice of same-sex intimacy is contrary to God's will. If found guilty, Ord could lose his preaching credentials or possibly even his church membership. His trial will be taking place in Boise, Idaho on July 25th. Ord, who was in 2015 pushed out of his job at Northwest Nazarene University for his progressive views, said that the church tried to gag him into keeping silent about his upcoming trial. He decided to speak publicly about it anyhow. 2 weeks ago, he published a book called My Defense, a response to the charges that I fully affirm LGBTQ plus people. Ord says, I am convinced that I won't get fair treatment going through this trial process, and I want most of all to make a defense based upon theology and not based upon the legal nuances of the denomination's manual. It goes on to say that Ord said he became queer affirming in the early 1990s and spent the next few decades helping queer students at Eastern Nazarene College and later at Northwest Nazarene University. Ord says that he believes that the majority of scholars in the Nazarene-affiliated universities and seminaries are LGBTQ plus affirming, but won't say so publicly because they fear for their jobs. And one of them, K. Steve McCormick, who is a professor emeritus of and at the Nazarene Theological Seminary, is expected to testify on Ord's behalf at the trial. Ord said this, he says, I really want to see the denomination live up to the calling of love that it claims that we're trying to pursue. It is my belief that love requires people who are trying to be followers of Jesus to be fully affirming of queer people. Your comments, Reverend Jeff Radcliff.
Tonight's topics all have been hitting me hard because there's that part of me that is acting just as viscerally as the people we're talking about. And then there's that little tiny part of me in the back of my mind that's going, but wait, there's a better way. And this story is a good one to pull me back from the brink of the politics and the guns, and because that just drives me crazy. But this one is good. This one also drives me crazy, but it's good because we can bring the idea of love into this, which is going to pull all of us back from the brink when we begin to express that love. There is not a religion out there that every religion has its own ideas of one common denominator amongst all of them, and is that they all agree that at some level deity expresses as love.
Yes.
And we're doing it imperfectly, but more and more of us are coming to the realization that we need to continue doing it, even if we're doing it imperfectly, even if we're not always expressing love. We can do that. And we are moving toward a tipping point. All we need to get us to 51%, and we can tip things into in favor of love.
Absolutely.
And yeah. So he's got his work cut out for him, the good pastor, but I think he's going to be fine.
Yes, and I think he's going to be offered all kinds of coverings, ecclesiastical coverings, as far as ministerial credentials if he loses his in the Church of the Nazarene. I had a pastoral assistant at one time, a few years back, by the name of Jay. Diana knew him. And Jay used to put on drag shows down in Miami. And that he lost his license in the Nazarene Church, and that Jay was just a wonderful pastor. I mean, just because they throw you out of the church doesn't mean that you lose your calling. And so I tell you what, he was just absolutely wonderful. We had a situation in which we needed an opinion. He was part of a team, and he gave the opinion in love, and that he was just a wonderful, wonderful man. And so I miss Jay. And he really loved New Thought, and that he could quote Ernest Holmes quite extensively. So I just think that Tom Ward's going to have, again, unfortunately, I think that he's going into kangaroo court here. It's already been decided. But I really think that, again, that individuals have to start speaking up like they have in the United Methodist Church, also in the Episcopalian Church and other Christian denominations, and just said, listen, we need to re-examine the scriptures about this, and also that many other theologians are coming to the same conclusion as Thomas Ord did. By looking at the scriptures and looking at them in context of not only the Christian message, but also the Judeo-Christian ethic. Your comment, Reverend Jeff.
Christians are an interesting bunch because, well, all of the Abrahamic religions are an interesting bunch, but Christians especially, because they seem to think that that's the only religion out there. And there are other religions that are older, that go back farther. There are indigenous practices and peoples who are more welcoming and affirming than Christians. And
Isn't that interesting?
It is. It is. They want to be known as a Christian nation, but they don't want to live up to the principles and practices.
So you have your choice of the next story. Either we can talk about yoga churches and the people who lead them, or we can talk about how a perfect storm sent church insurance rates skyrocketing.
Yeah, but you know what? That's happening all over the country. And it's not just, let's do that one for the heck of it.
Oh, you want to do the one with the insurance? Okay.
Yeah, why not?
What? Okay. Well, hey, listen, if anyone has a complaint about it, Jeff picked out the story. So, but again, that
was all you needed to choose from. If you'd have given me the option, I would have talked about the couple that I brought to you prior to the show starting.
Go ahead. Oh, the couple of articles.
Yeah.
Oh,
well,
okay.
we can get to this, but let's get to
Okay. So for those of you who are unfamiliar with this story, the same factors that have caused a crisis in homeowners insurance are affecting churches who have chosen between paying for insurance or running programs. And this is from the Religion News Network. Reverend John Parks was taking his first sabbatical in 40 years when he got a call from his church accountant with some bad news. Church Mutual, the church's insurance company, had dropped them. Let me just say in full disclosure is that Church Mutual also covers many New Thought churches, especially Centers for Spiritual Living. So they are a provider of insurance for many CSLs. Parks, who's the pastor of Ashford Community Church in Houston, says this doesn't make sense. We've never filed a claim. 5 months and 13 insurance companies later, the church finally found replacement coverage for $80,000 a year, up from the $23,000 that they had been paying. It has been an adventure, said the 69-year-old minister from his home in Houston, where power was out after Hurricane Beryl. Is it Beryl or Beryl?
Beryl.
Beryl? Okay. He said
that's Mother Nature had him over one.
Okay. He said that's putting it politely. Parks and his congregation are not alone. An ongoing wave of disasters, the Gulf Coast hurricanes, wildfires in California, severe thunderstorms and flooding in the Midwest, along with skyrocketing construction costs post-COVID, have left the insurance industry reeling. So what is going on is that in areas where it's likely that Church Mutual and other insurance companies are in those areas that are storm or disaster prone, like Florida, like parts of Texas, also the West Coast, all along the West Coast, is that this is exactly what's happening, is that Church Mutual is saying, we can't cover you anymore. And also, again, when they finally find coverage, what these churches have to do is they have to decide between having insurance and or programs. Your comment, Reverend Jeff Radcliff.
I think back to some of the little churches that I used to be part of back in West Virginia. And a lot of them are dying. The congregation is aging. Younger people with their families are not coming in. They're actually fleeing the churches. A lot of these churches, there's a church about 5 miles from me. It's an Episcopal church, actually. Was one of the original Episcopal churches in this area. There are 2 people that go to it now. Occasionally they will have a visitor or 2. Mm-hmm. But it is 2 old ladies trying to keep this church going. A lot of these congregations, and this may sound harsh, and I don't mean it to be, but a lot of these congregations would probably do well to dump the building. What are 2 little old ladies doing with an entire church building? They can't sustain it. It's not going to be long before the diocese down here closes it, and it's going to go up on the auction block. Smaller congregations would do well to look at what a lot of New Thought communities are doing and have been doing for years, and that's renting space.
Yes.
Renting it in a hotel, renting it in a strip mall. You know, it's cheaper than owning your building and having to pay that kind of money that you might not be bringing in with contributions and whatnot. If you can't
And
afford it, you can't afford it.
and that unfortunately that even when you have that kind of rental income, that you still have to have liability insurance
Mhm.
and that's required usually by the denomination that you're affiliated with, is that you must carry liability insurance. And so what a lot of congregations are coming to see is that, again, that they're having to decide, like the small Episcopal church, they're having to decide whether or not that it's viable to even stay open anymore. And that what I see happening, especially with buildings, with New Thought centers, is that they are becoming hubs of activity. The story that you went ahead and rejected, we'll talk about it anyhow, about the yoga churches, is
Mhm.
that, again, that individuals are having services that, again, that revolve around yogic practices, and also they do a lot of the things that we do during our services in New Thought. So I really believe that there still is a a community of people, still is an audience out there that would be responsive to this message. How we get it to them, though, I don't know. I'm still kind of, the whole idea of building community. We don't have a building. We haven't met in a building here in Akron in since COVID. So, and we're
And that
thinking
was the
about not
blessing,
doing that. Go ahead.
and that's the blessing of COVID, because without the constraint of a building, you have the potential to have a larger outreach, because not everybody is going to be able to travel to Akron to attend Summit, but they can tune in online.
Right.
One of the largest metropolitan community churches, it's also a New Thought church, it's a Divine Science church, is Sunshine Cathedral in Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
Great church. I've
And
been
it
there.
is a large church, and has been established for several years. But it was not until COVID, and they started to really put their services out there online. And while Mile High Center for Spiritual Living in Denver is the largest, New Thought church, and it's got a lot of congregants who actually are able to go to the church.
Yes.
What Sunshine Cathedral has done is put their services out there online. They have over 1 million people tuning in each Sunday to watch these services from all over the world. All over the world. They could not do that if their focus was solely on the church and their surrounding community in Fort Lauderdale. They have expanded that, and they have grown exponentially. And
Yeah.
the work that they're doing is so much more. It's reaching so many more people now because they were able to do that. So I think the blessing of COVID-19 was that it gave us an opportunity to find ways of doing church that are different than what we had been doing. And your organization is doing a part in that as well. It's playing a part in that as well. Finding new and different and, dare I say, better ways of doing it.
And one of the complaints that I heard last year at Sunshine Cathedral during that conference I helped with the media at. One of the speakers said that one of the dangers of social media is that we do not form community. That has not been our experience here on this network. We have seen individuals form community. We have seen individuals reach out to one another in the comments. We have, and we've even talked about having regional gatherings. 3 churches here in Ohio are affiliated with New Thought Media Network, including Summit CSL. So we're thinking about having a gathering here of and having Reverend Robert come in, and we do a weekend here of fellowship with other New Thought churches that are also online. So I think that again, that was the blessing of COVID, was that also brought about the birth of our network. So when COVID hit, Robert said, he says, we have to push the button on this idea. And that's exactly how we started. So
how awesome is that?
Yeah. And one of the blessings of that is by the way, I got a promotion, Jeff.
Oh.
I got a promotion from staff minister to assistant minister.
Oh, how cool is that? And I assume that there is a commensurate raise that went along with this?
No.
It's just a little tweak.
Well,
that's too bad, because now you won't be able to go to Costco, which is my story that I brought to you, remember?
Okay, well, go ahead.
You need that raise. Diana, give him a raise so he can go to Costco, because Costco just raised their membership fee. And people are losing their ever-loving minds over it.
From
$60 a year to $65 a year.
And that's the first raise since
2017.
Yes.
People are going nuts. You go out and spend more at Starbucks for one lousy cup of whatever it is you're drinking. You can't, $5, people. $5. It's not going to break you. But these are the same people who, when I saw the story about, what's his name? Anand Ambani.
Okay.
People are losing their minds over this one as well, because Anand Ambani is getting married to his girlfriend Radhika.
Yes.
Anand's father is Mukesh Ambani. He is Asia's richest man. Asia's richest man. He is like the 9th richest person in the world. He's worth like $116 billion. Billion. When they announced their wedding, they started having all kinds of parties. They actually had a Hindu wedding ceremony today. Well, Friday. It's Saturday over there now.
Mm-hmm.
But they had it today, and they had people like British Prime Ministers Tony Blair and Boris Johnson were there. Lana Del Rey was there. Adele was there. Drake was there. David Beckham was there. A few months ago, they had a pre-wedding celebration that, what's her name? Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton was there. And what's his name? Justin Bieber performed there. Last year, when dude's sister got married, they had another well-known person perform. And I'm sorry, I am drawing a heck of a blank here.
I'm sorry, I don't keep up on Indian weddings, even though
Beyonce
Beyonce. Okay.
performed. Yeah. So yeah, and what's interesting is Anand Ambani's family owns a 27-story family compound in Mumbai that is worth $1 billion. The building has 3 helipads, a 160-car garage, and a private movie theater.
Hey.
They got their money from, they've got their fingers in a little bit of everything, ranging from petrochemicals to telecoms to retails. Yes. And the lady, Radhika, who is the bride in all this, her father is also extremely wealthy, made his millions and billions in pharmaceuticals. But the reason people are freaking out over this is because it's in India. And India has a caste system. And look at all the poor people there who you could be spending this money on instead of lavish parties and wedding festivities and whatnot. And these are the same people who are always going to remain poor in their lives because they're disparaging the way others are dealing with their finances. This is a hot spot for me. This is a hot spot because I'm always telling people, watch your thinking, watch your thoughts, because what you put out there, you're going to get back.
Yes.
And instead of saying, oh, well, isn't it wonderful? These folks are having a good time. They're getting married and they're spending this money, and this money is going out into the community. People are getting paid. Okay.
Oh, big money.
Yeah. But because they're being disparaging about it, that's the energy they're putting out. That's the energy they're going to get back.
Right.
Watch your thoughts, because what you put out there, you're going to get back. These folks, they don't give a darn what you think. They're enjoying their life, and the more they enjoy their life, the more life they're going to have to enjoy.
And Indian weddings are the best. Let me tell you something. I've done ceremonies. The last service that I did with my former assistant, Reverend Andrea, before she became ill with cancer and unfortunately passed away a year later. But the last wedding that we did, we were invited to the Indian wedding beforehand. And the groom came up in a horse, on a horse, with a sword, followed by all these folks dancing all the way into the tent. And I'll tell you what, this Hindu priest said all of the prayers from memory. This guy was good. And then afterwards, I'm going to Andrea and I'm saying, boy, he really put us to shame. Our little Christian ceremony, which isn't going to last more than 20 minutes. They did. And that was the short form that we saw. We saw the Reader's Digest form, which is 1 hour. It can go 3 to 4 hours or longer. So, and also that Indian weddings, also they go over a 3-day period. Usually. So there's usually a party before the day of the wedding, and then there's usually like a party on the day after. So if you have the opportunity, go to an Indian wedding. It's a great time. And guess what, Reverend Jeff Radcliff?
We are out of time. So I want to thank my guest, Reverend Michael Mangus, for joining me on Friday Fireside Chat.
Aren't you going to say good night to your
my girlfriend buddy. Diana? I love her pieces. I'm so happy to see her there in the comments. She's awesome.
Yeah, she said yes, 50.1% it begins.
Yep, that's our tipping point. Remember,
that's our tipping point. That's when it's going to happen. Yep. So, All right, sir. Again, thank you so very much. And I will walk the labyrinth for you next week at Unity Village.
Please do so.
And hopefully Robert will give me time and also visit the brand new archives there for
either do it very
science
early in
and
the morning or in the evening because it's supposed to be hot next week. Don't fall out.
Oh yeah, it's well, listen, we had Diana says love you too. Anyhow, I should be jealous, but I'm not. So anyhow, no, it's listen, it wasn't it'll be hot, but let me tell you something. Hot is when you go to Fort Lauderdale at this time last year. And I mean, it was warm. So what's nice about this year is that everything is going to, I'm talking about going to the International New Thought Alliance, the annual Congress, and everything's going to be held in the Unity Village Hotel. So we won't have to move equipment or anything. So everything will be so all we will have to do is to get up from our rooms and go down the hallway and turn on the equipment. And then when we are done, we have to go outside for our meals. So that's the only thing.
Oh, wow.
I think I can do that. The food is really, if you've never been to Unity Village, please go.
I was planning to go this year, and other things had to come up and be taken care of. So maybe another time.
Oh, it's
the village has been there for 120 something years. It'll be there.
I think it'll be there.
Yeah.
Reverend Jeff, thank you again.
Thank you.
And we will talk to you soon here. And again, thank you to everyone else for joining us this evening here on the Friday Evening Fireside Chat. Again, we're made possible because of your loving donations here at our network. So again, if you could consider donating to our network, ntmedia.org/donate, that would be greatly appreciated. The summertime is conference season. And again, we provide streaming services to New Thought organizations and also spiritual organizations at probably about 1/3 the cost that they would have to pay to a professional organization to provide the same service. And I think we do a better job. So, but the reason we're able to do that is because of your loving support. ntmedia.org/donate. On behalf of all of us here at the New Thought Media Network, I am Reverend Michael. I'm going to wish you a very pleasant good night. And you have a great week.
Thanks for joining us this evening for Friday's Fireside Chat with Pastor Michael Mangus. Join us again next week at 8 Eastern, 6 Mountain for more spiritual conversations for today. For more information and replays of past shows, please visit the New Thought Radio and Media Network's Facebook page. Until next week, may God bless you richly and abundantly.